Good morning, Daily Bible Time, Monday morning. Dominic Steele here. What a great day we had at church yesterday, and thanks so much for everyone who came along. It was super encouraging and terrific to see all those decorations at church as people are planning for our kids club Wednesday and Thursday on the pupil-free days this week. Look, we started last Friday to explore Mark 13 on Daily Bible Time, and I said on Friday it's the most complex and controversial section of Mark for commentators. And look, I am hoping you'll be with us in church in a few weeks' time when I deal with it in full in a 25-30 minute presentation. I drew attention on Friday to Peter Bolt's thesis on this when he says there's a three-part expectation in Mark 13. He says verses 5 to 23 speak of a situation of cosmic turmoil and the last days of Israel in which the disciples will find themselves suffering on Jesus' account. The disciples will see this awful hour of horrible sacrilege which will issue into the severest time of distress of all time. And in this time of great distress, the disciples may well be tempted to move away from their previous confession of Jesus as the Christ. And this, says Bolt, is the first expectation of the time of great distress. Then he says there's a second expectation in Mark 13, verses 24 to 26. In those days, after the distress, then following the distress, Daniel 7:13 will be fulfilled, the coming of the Son of Man. And then verse 27 of Mark 13, the expectation that he'll send out his messengers and the harvest of the elect from all the world will start. And Peter Bolt's thesis is these are all fulfilled, not in the destruction of the Jerusalem temple or in the second coming, but rather in the next few pages of Mark's gospel with the Christ event, the death and resurrection of Jesus, and the subsequent mission to the Gentiles. I've said I find Bolt's thesis persuasive, and so today we're going to follow Bolt and chase out the fulfilment, and today the first expectation raised by Mark 13, the time of great distress. Now, the expectation is really clear that it's going to be really bad. So Mark 13, verse 14, when you see the abomination of desolation standing where it should not be, let the reader understand, those in Judea must flee to the mountains. A man on the housetop must not come down or go in to get anything out of his house, and a man in the field must not go back to get his coat. Woe to the pregnant women and nursing mothers in those days. Now, you keep reading through Mark, and next chapter you get to the Garden of Gethsemane. It takes place at midnight in the midst of great distress. Jesus is praying desperately to his Father that the hour might pass from him. And then Judas arrives. The disciples realize things are dreadfully wrong. The shepherd's about to be struck. They flee. Then the other side of the trial, Jesus is in such distress. It's what is unfolding is so bad that even Peter, the chief disciple, fails. Then there's the awful horror, the great horrifying sacrilege at the heart of Israel where it ought not be. Israel's long-awaited Messiah has arrived, and Israel's leaders crucify him and relish the moment. And then the greatest distress of all time, the arrival of the hour that has filled Jesus with so much anxiety as we hear the cry of dereliction that screams out of the darkness, my God, why have you forsaken me?" So that's the first expectation of Mark 13 fulfilled, a time of great unparalleled distress. And I think it's not that difficult to argue that fulfillment is painted pretty clearly in the next pages of Mark 14 and Mark 15. What about the other two expectations, the coming of the Son of Man and the gathering of the elect? Well, we'll start to explore them tomorrow on Daily Bible Time, but do plan to be with us in church when we do this. We're in the middle of Mark 12 in church yesterday, and we looked at that. We're down to do Mark 13, Sunday the 21st of February. We'll look forward to having you with us in church for that day.